Overtrading does not start with bad intentions. It starts with discomfort, a quiet moment, a slow market, a loss that doesn't sit right, a win that feels unfinished. And the mind says one simple thing: do something. That sentence has emptied more trading accounts than bad strategy ever has. Overtrading is not about greed. It is not about lack of knowledge. It is about the inability to sit still when emotion rises. Most traders don't overtrade because they want more money. They overtrade because they want relief. Relief from boredom, relief from fear, relief from doubt, relief from frustration. Trading becomes the fastest way to change how they feel. And once trading becomes emotional regulation, discipline disappears. To overcome overtrading, you must first understand this truth. Overtrading is not a trading problem. It is a behavior problem. The market did not force you to take that extra trade. Your emotions did, and emotions do not respond to rules alone. They respond to awareness. Most traders try to fix overtrading with restrictions. Trade limits, time limits, rules on paper, those help, but they do not cure the root, because the root is internal urgency. Until urgency is addressed, overtrading will find a way. It always does. Overtrading feels productive. It feels like effort. It feels like focus, but it is the opposite. It is scattered energy, unfocused attention, reaction disguised as action. Overtrading happens when you stop trusting time. You feel late. You feel behind. You feel like you must participate now. That feeling is imaginary, but its consequences are real. To overcome overtrading, you must learn to recognize the moment before it starts. That moment is not when you click the button. It is when you feel pressure in your body, tightness, restlessness, impatience. That is the signal, not the chart. The chart is innocent. Your state of mind is not. Overtrading also grows in silence. When you trade alone, unchecked, emotions echo. You convince yourself each trade makes sense. You justify. You explain. You rationalize. And rationalization is the language of overtrading. To overcome overtrading, you must stop asking, does this trade work? And start asking, why do I want to trade right now? That question changes everything. If the answer is boredom, fear, frustration, or excitement, you already know the truth. The trade is emotional. Emotional trades multiply. They never come alone. 1 becomes 2. 2 become 5. 5 become exhaustion. And exhaustion always ends badly. Overtrading also feeds on the illusion of control. You feel like more trades mean more chances, but more chances also mean more mistakes. The market does not reward volume. It rewards precision. Precision requires patience. Patience disappears when urgency enters. To overcome overtrading, you must relearn the value of doing nothing. Doing nothing feels uncomfortable, like falling behind, like missing out. But doing nothing is often the most disciplined decision you can make. Overtrading is what happens when you fear stillness. Stillness exposes emotion. Emotion demands action. Action drains accounts. This cycle repeats quietly, daily, relentlessly. Overtrading also thrives when identity is attached to activity. If I'm not trading, I'm not progressing. That belief is false. Progress here comes from restraint, from selectivity, from ending days clean. Overtrading creates noise. Noise hides clarity. Clarity is what keeps you safe. To overcome overtrading, you must accept that boredom is part of the job, not a problem. A signal that nothing is required. Most traders never learn this. They confuse boredom with opportunity. Opportunity rarely feels urgent. Urgency is emotional. Overtrading also appears after wins. You feel good, confident, alive, so you press, not because conditions improved, but because emotion did. That is overtrading wearing a smile. And it is just as dangerous as fear-driven Overtrading. To overcome overtrading, you must treat wins with the same caution as losses. Return to neutral, always neutral. Neutral is where discipline lives. Overtrading steals neutrality. It keeps you leaning forward, always involved, always exposed, always tired, and tired minds make bad decisions. To overcome overtrading, you must slow your internal pace, not the market, your mind. Slow thinking reduces impulse. Impulse fuels overtrading. Slowing down restores choice. Choice is control. Most traders think control means predicting. It does not. Control means choosing when not to act. Overtrading is what happens when you lose that choice. The cure is not force, it is awareness. Awareness of emotion, awareness of urgency, awareness of why your hand wants to click. Once awareness is present, restraint becomes possible. And restraint is how overtrading ends. Not instantly, but permanently. Overtrading is reinforced every time it gives you short-term relief. You take an extra trade, the tension drops, the boredom disappears, the frustration fades for a moment, and your mind learns a dangerous lesson. Action fixes discomfort. That lesson does not care whether the trade wins or loses. Relief came from acting, not from results. And once the brain links action to relief, it will demand more action the next time discomfort appears. This is how overtrading becomes a habit, quietly, repeatedly, automatically. To overcome overtrading, you must interrupt this learning loop, not by suppressing urges, but by letting urges exist without obeying them. This is uncomfortable at first. Your body will want movement. Your mind will look for reasons. This one is different. This one is clear. This one doesn't count. That is the habit defending itself. You do not need to argue with it. You need to pause. Pausing breaks the loop. Overtrading also feeds on emotional carryover. A loss bleeds into the next decision. A win bleeds into the next decision. You stop trading what is in front of you. You trade what just happened. This is subtle, but it is destructive. To overcome overtrading, you must learn to reset emotionally between actions. Not later, immediately. A trade ends, emotion ends with it. If emotion continues, trading stops. That rule alone eliminates most overtrading. Overtrading also thrives when goals are vague. Make money today. Catch something. Be productive. Vague goals create pressure. Pressure demands activity. To overcome overtrading, goals must be behavioral. Wait, protect, stop on time. Behavioral goals reduce urgency. Urgency is the fuel of overtrading. Overtrading also grows when you stay glued to the screen. The longer you stare, the more patterns you imagine, the more movement feels meaningful. To overcome overtrading, distance is essential. Step back, physically, mentally. Distance restores perspective. Perspective restores restraint. Overtrading also shows up when traders confuse participation with progress. If I'm active, I'm improving. But improvement happens in review, in reflection, in restraint, not in constant execution. To overcome overtrading, you must redefine progress. Progress is ending the day with discipline intact, even if nothing happened. Especially if nothing happened, overtrading also hides behind confidence. After a few good trades, you feel sharp, alert, in sync. That feeling is intoxicating. It makes you believe you should trade more. That belief is false. Confidence spikes, loosen discipline. Loose discipline leads to overtrading. To overcome overtrading, you must treat confidence as a signal to slow down, not speed up. Return to neutral, always neutral. Overtrading is rarely about opportunity. It is about emotional momentum. Once momentum starts, it carries you forward, trade after trade, decision after decision, until exhaustion stops you. To overcome overtrading, you must learn to stop momentum early. One clean pause can save an entire day. Overtrading also grows when traders fear missing out. They imagine opportunities disappearing forever, but opportunities repeat. Your capital does not To overcome overtrading, you must value survival over participation. Survival keeps you in the game. Participation without discipline removes you. Overtrading also comes from a lack of trust and self-control. I might miss it if I don't act now. That belief reveals insecurity. To overcome overtrading, you must build trust through restraint. Every time you choose not to trade emotionally, trust grows. And with trust, urgency fades. Overtrading also disappears when you respect fatigue. Mental fatigue makes impulse stronger. The tired mind wants shortcuts. To overcome overtrading, stopping is not optional. Stopping is discipline. Stopping protects tomorrow. Overtrading steals tomorrow to satisfy today. To overcome overtrading, you must become comfortable with incomplete days, days that feel unfinished, days that end without closure. Those days train patience. Patience dissolves overtrading. Overtrading is not cured by stronger willpower. Willpower fails under emotion. It is cured by awareness, pause, and acceptance. Acceptance that you do not need to act. Acceptance that stillness is safe. Acceptance that waiting is work. Once you accept these truths, overtrading loses its grip because it no longer offers relief. Relief now comes from restraint, and restraint is sustainable. Disciplined waiting is not passive. It is active control. It is choosing not to act when action would feel good but be wrong. Most traders think waiting means missing out. In reality, waiting is how you stay eligible for the right moments. Overtrading removes eligibility. It exhausts focus. It dulls judgment. By the time something truly matters appears, you are tired. To overcome overtrading, you must rebuild your relationship with waiting. Waiting is not empty time. It is preparation. It is observation. It is emotional regulation without risk. Waiting allows your nervous system to settle. A settled nervous system makes clear decisions. Clear decisions reduce mistakes. This is the chain. Overtrading breaks it. Waiting restores it. To replace overtrading with structure, you must simplify your day, not add more rules. Remove unnecessary choices. Decisions drain energy. Overtrading is often the result of too many decisions made too quickly. Structure reduces decision load. Structure tells you when to engage and when to disengage. And disengagement is just as important as execution. Overtrading thrives when there is no clear stopping point. So you must define stopping as a success, not as failure. Stopping on time, stopping after emotion rises, stopping after fatigue appears. These are wins. They protect capital and mindset. To overcome overtrading, you must respect the first sign of emotional drift. The moment you feel rushed, the moment you feel irritated, the moment you feel the urge to make something happen, that is your exit signal, not your entry signal. Overtrading also fades when you reduce screen time. More screen time creates more temptation. Temptation leads to justification. Justification leads to action. Action leads to regret. Distance breaks this cycle. Step away, breathe, move your body. Let the urge pass. Urges peak and fall if you do not obey them. This is a fact. To overcome overtrading, you must allow urges to pass without acting. This retrains your brain. The brain learns that relief comes from restraint, not action. That learning is permanent. Overtrading also disappears when you anchor to behavioral goals, not profit goals. Behavioral goals are calm, they remove pressure, protect capital, wait for clarity, end the day clean. These goals guide behavior without urgency. Urgency fuels overtrading. Calm dissolves it. Overtrading often happens when traders forget that tomorrow exists. They act as if today is the last chance. That mindset is false. Opportunities repeat. Capital does not. To overcome overtrading, you must think in sequences, not moments. One trade means nothing. One day means little. Behavior over weeks decides everything. This long view weakens impulse. Overtrading also fades when you respect boredom. Boredom is not a signal to act. It is a signal that nothing is required. Most traders misread boredom. They confuse it with opportunity. But true opportunities do not demand urgency. They invite patience. To overcome overtrading, you must stop rewarding yourself for activity. Reward yourself for discipline, for walking away, for waiting, for stopping early. These rewards reshape behavior. Behavior reshapes results. Overtrading also reduces when you separate emotion from identity. Feeling restless does not mean you should trade. Feeling frustrated does not mean you are behind. Emotions are weather, not commands. When you stop obeying emotional weather, overtrading fades. The final step in overcoming overtrading is acceptance. Acceptance that you cannot trade all the time. Acceptance that you will miss things. Acceptance that stillness is safe. This acceptance removes internal conflict. Conflict creates urgency. Urgency creates overtrading. Peace creates patience. Patience creates precision. Precision creates consistency. Consistency is what the market pays. Overtrading ends not when you become perfect, but when you become patient, when you trust yourself to wait, when you value protection over participation, when restraint feels like strength. That is when overtrading loses its power. Not because you fought it, but because you outgrew it. This is how overtrading is overcome. Quietly, gradually, permanently. And once it is gone, trading becomes calmer, clearer, sustainable. And sustainability is the real edge. When overtrading finally loosens its grip, the change is quiet. There is no dramatic moment, no sudden confidence spike, just a noticeable calm. You sit longer without acting. You feel less pressure to participate. You stop searching for reasons to trade. And that absence of urgency is the signal that something has shifted. You begin to notice how much energy overtrading was stealing: mental energy, emotional energy, focus. Without that drain, your thinking becomes simpler. You stop complicating decisions. You stop negotiating with yourself. You stop trying to make something happen. And in that simplicity, clarity returns. Overcoming overtrading also changes how you experience losses. Losses stop triggering reactions. They end where they occur. They don't bleed into the next decision. You don't feel the need to respond. You accept. You reset. You wait. That single change protects more capital than any rule ever could. You also begin to trust yourself again. Trust that you will not sabotage a good day. Trust that you will stop when needed. Trust that you will not chase. This trust removes fear. Fear was one of the biggest drivers of overtrading. When fear fades, impulse weakens. When impulse weakens, discipline holds. Overtrading also disappears when your identity changes. You no longer see yourself as someone who must always be active. You see yourself as someone who is selective, careful, intentional. That identity reshapes behavior automatically. You don't need reminders. You don't need restrictions. Your actions align naturally. You also become comfortable with missing trades. Missing no longer feels like loss. It feels like protection. You understand that not every move is yours to take. That understanding removes pressure. Pressure is what once pushed you into overtrading. Without pressure, restraint feels normal. Overcoming overtrading also brings emotional balance. Wins don't pull you forward. Losses don't push you back. You remain centered. Centered traders last. Uncentered traders burn out. You also stop measuring days by profit. You measure them by behavior. Did I wait? Did I protect? Did I stop? These questions guide you. They keep you grounded. They keep you honest. Overtrading cannot survive in this environment. It needs chaos. It needs urgency. It needs emotion. Calm removes its fuel. Overcoming overtrading also makes trading feel lighter, less heavy, less exhausting, less consuming. You have space again. Mental space, emotional space. That space allows you to live outside the market. And traders who live outside the market trade better inside it. You stop feeling like trading defines you. It becomes something you do, not something you are. That separation is healthy. It keeps ego in check. Ego feeds overtrading. Overcoming overtrading also brings consistency within reach. Not because you trade more, but because you trade less with more intention, more patience, more clarity. Consistency grows in quiet environments, not noisy ones. This is why the solution to overtrading is never more effort, more screen time, more rules. It is less urgency, less reaction, less interference. Once you experience this calm, you don't want to go back. Overtrading starts to feel obvious, unnecessary, costly. You see it for what it is, a response to emotion, not a requirement for success. And because you see it clearly, you no longer obey it. That is how it ends. Not through force, through understanding, through patience, through restraint. This is how overtrading is overcome. And once it is gone, trading stops feeling like a battle. It becomes a practice, a discipline, a long-term path, one you can walk without burning yourself out, one you can stay on, and staying long enough is what turns effort into consistency. Consistency into confidence, confidence into longevity. That is the real victory. Not trading more, but trading better. And better always begins with restraint.